You ever think about quitting?
It's the combat of life hammering the snot out of you.
Well, stand by, dig in deep, and get ready to get fired up with us.
Welcome to the Team Never Quit podcast, the #1 podcast that inspires you to fight on. I'm your host, David Rutherford, here with Mr. Never Quit himself, Marcus Luttrell.
Our mission is to help you embrace the suck of life, to teach you the values of working your ass off, and to interview the most hard-charging people on planet Earth.
We know life is hard. It's time for you to suck it up, Buttercup, and let us teach you to persevere in every environment imaginable by sharing real-world lessons learned by those who never quit. That's right. It's time, Marcus, for us to help them defeat the negative insurgency in their lives.
You fire me up. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's roll.
Let's roll. USA! 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 There's always, like, in my mind, some kind of limit, like you only do 3, then you taper off. What about you? I mean, do you just keep going? How long do you go, Wizard? How long do you go, Marcus, with the USA chants?
I've got USA chanting in my head 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Did you hear that?
God bless America and everything
It's
she
on
stands
a deep,
for.
deep track. On continuous repeat.
Once I get, if I get fired up enough to get into that,
Yeah.
that part of it,
Yeah.
then I'm usually the last guy up.
Like, you'll stay in it until it...
Hey, you remember them days, right? When I'll take it to the different. My buddies too, man. Like I like to heckle.
You're a heckler?
I'm a heckler, pretty bad, right? But not the loud.
Do you heckle at your kids' games, like Axe's games?
No, not kids.
Okay.
No, I don't mess around with. No,
At Hunter's games?
Yeah, college. Yeah. But I'm not the loud one. Like I'll
The
actually
other
go over
parents
to
are like, damn it, here comes that Marcus.
Yeah, I'll go over to the baseline. but what I do is I cheer. I talk.
Can you imagine being heckled by Marcus? Like, you're a 16-year-old kid on first base.
Yeah.
And there's Marcus, arms crossed, tats blared, like, hey, bada.
Yeah.
Hey, bada.
Hunter, my oldest son, he's a state champion baseball.
Yeah, awesome.
And so at the games, right? My heckling, like I don't put it down on the kid. I throw I motivate my team, Hunter, and the way I talk to them is just probably terrifying to the. I'll never forget one time it was something. Oh, Hunter was batting, right, and the pitcher threw one in and cranked him right in the leg or something like that. And everybody's like, oh yeah, and it got real quiet. Yeah. Of course, everyone looked over at me, and I was like, that's all right, shake it off. Don't worry about it, son. You know, you get worse. You get hit harder at home. I was standing over my arm. I was like, don't worry, man. It gets harder, hit harder than that at home. And everybody just kind of stopped for a second and then laughing. You know,
like scooting down the bench.
And Hunter looks over. Hunter, I was talking to him, right?
Yeah,
so he kind of just shakes it off, gets up, cranks one out. Grand slam. I mean,
he was on fire, man. Good on you, Hunter, man.
That team, man. I was so proud of them.
And his coach was awesome.
Yep.
But let's go back to the USA chant and the power of that. I mean, it's in Wizard 24/7 around the clock, deep inside, but it's there. I remember the first time being overwhelmed with it was in the 1976 Olympics. That's when the first time it really registered for me. And remember, it was the
1900s?
decathlon.
Did you say 1976?
Yeah. Yeah, well,
God, I was 1.
Yeah, bro. I'm a little older than you guys.
How old were you? So you're like 3?
No, I was 72. I was 4 years old.
Okay, so you're 4?
Enough.
How do you remember the Olympics when you're 4?
Yeah. I was
Really?
thinking the same thing too, man. Kids, Axe, Addy, you'd be surprised with them. They can throw up from when they were
4 years
1.
old is infant amnesia is supposed to end in your 3s, right? 4 years old when your first real memories are supposed to be imprinted, and that's where you can recall to. For me, because I was so ingrained in athletics. I mean, my mom was state champion tennis player. I mean, all I did was play sports. That's it. So this was like the pinnacle for me. And I remember it was Bruce Jenner winning the decathlon. It was Mark Spitz. And I just remember the fanfare and my parents going nuts over it and like, oh my God. And then the next big one for me was the 84 Olympics with Carl Lewis, right? And Edwin Moses.
Yeah, I remember when that was a big deal.
It started building actually the 80 Olympics, the 80 Winter Olympics was the 80 hockey. And that was one of the biggest memories.
Miracle.
The Miracle on Ice. And remember the chanting for those boys as they faced the Russians.
Oh, man, that was epic. Even if you're not a hockey fan, man, that was great.
Well, the greatest...
And Carl Lewis and Michael Johnson.
Oh. Every year there's an amazing, incredible...
Remember Dan and Dave?
Who?
Yeah, Dan and
Dave, the decathlete.
Man, that was huge, too.
Absolutely. Usain Bolt. I mean, the list is endless.
When he came across that line and smiled at the...
Oh. And they were like a second and a half behind him.
Different level.
Whole different level.
Jackie Joyner and Kersey, man.
And we got someone...
Remember the fingernails, boys? She's coming ripping through there.
Everything about her.
Man, a lot of those.
That's right.
But you're watching those athletes, those Olympians, man, run and do all they do. It makes you feel alive, right? Like I feel like I want to go run.
Proud. It makes you feel inspired to go work out. It makes you feel to be better.
You're actually on the same team. That's the great part about it, man, is that you're on their team.
Well,
even if you don't play that sport, man, it's because it's an American thing, right? So you're of course you're rooting for them, man, because we're on the same team. I don't know, I'm not playing, but I'm over here cheering for you. And
I got a story for you, right? So I went to this private school up in Connecticut for 5th year, and the guy I met there was captain of our football team, captain of the lacrosse team, captain of the hockey team. Nobody in his family had ever gone to college, no nothing. He sees this game. He says, "Dad, I want to play hockey." He gets so good, he gets accepted to this private school, right? Becomes captain of the team, gets recruited by Harvard, goes to Harvard, graduates from Harvard, is the captain of the Harvard hockey team, wins the national championship, and ends up getting a tryout with the Rangers. All from that, watching that U.S. Olympic sport. That's the power of it. That's the power.
Those athletes they changed lives. Look at like Simone. Here's one of the coolest parts about where I grew up, man. Bella's gym is down the road from me. They're neighbors, and he is out in the middle of Podunk, nowhere.
Is he really screaming?
You'd have to be lost to get there. You had to be lost to get to my house.
That's true.
So Morgan and I and everybody, we trained out there. So I would run past his gym on the long runs.
On the long run,
yeah. And
which was like a mile.
Yeah, a little under, maybe. And man, it was motivating. You're working out and just knowing that the champions are down the road.
The greatest in the world.
Greatest in the world, man. Train out of that place.
And that's the beauty of the Olympics, too. It's a world sport. And the best people from every country, whether you're on the Jamaican bobsled team or you're from Mozambique, and you're a Olympic sprinter or something. It doesn't matter. That's the beauty of it, right? It's from all over the world, and it's the one place I feel like we can really let go of all the politicism, all of the, anything, and sport becomes the way we communicate, and it's pure.
It should be, in a perfect world, it'd probably be the way we should fight.
That would be pretty cool.
Right? It's like, yeah. We got problems with them. We're going to whip your butt on the football field every year.
That would be cool.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
I love it. So the woman we're bringing on now, I think she fits in to that realm of inspirational Olympic athletes some of the most inspirational Olympic athletes of all time. I remember watching her in London in 2012 at 17 years old and doing what she did and having my mouth wide open. But the most incredible part about Missy for me is who she is as a person, right? The energy she brings to a room, the humility, the excitement, how she engages with people. She's infectious. Do you guys agree?
Absolutely. You were just talking about how inspirational it can be to watch Olympians perform, but going beyond that, the whole element of her performance in Rio, which was disappointing, I think she would admit that, but the way she handled it on the world stage was next level.
Well, that's what separates them. That's what champions do, right?
So impressive.
That is what
you're right, because athletes inspire us by what they do. It's the marvel in how good they are at that particular sport, or when they come off the line, right, and they inspire you when they open their mouth, and it'd be awesome to see because swimming is such a sport that you have to. Well, all the Olympic sports are really, man, but in the pool early, and as inspirational, as outgoing, as bubbly as she is, man, her other life, what she does, swimming is part of that, very much a part of that, man. But to inspire people outside of your sport, that's how you know you're dealing with a special person.
A champion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to introduce Missy Franklin, right? I don't want to get ahead of myself
because there's probably, two, three people out there that don't know who she is.
Maybe
Let's do a real quick rundown. Born Pasadena, California, but I believe she spent most of her time growing up in Colorado and her swimming career. Went to the University of California, and where she was 4-time NCAA champion between 2012 and 2015. But let's back it up a little bit because she got started swimming in the Olympics even earlier than that. Her debut, which you referenced earlier, was in 2012. That was in London.
Badass.
At the age of 17, where she knocked out 5 gold medals.
5
medals, 4 gold. 5 medals, 4 gold. Setting world records in the 200-meter backstroke for the long course, which still stands, as well as the world record for the 4x100-meter medley relay on the long course. And she holds 2 more American records in the 100-meter and 200-meter backstroke.
I remember that backstroke swim. I didn't know who she was. Remember when she was crushing it, they were screaming her name. I was actually walking back and forth in front of the TV. I was at Exos.
Yeah.
And, man, all the boys, all the athletes, and everybody, they were all staring up at the thing, man, and she just...
Crushed people. Destroyed.
I remember watching that in a casino in Panama City.
Don't tell me that, dude. You're derelict. What were you doing? Never mind.
I was getting paid.
Check. That's awesome, man.
There's like 3 or 4 of us in this casino in Panama watching this. Nobody else could give a shit about watching the Olympics down there, right?
Right.
Except for these 3 insane Americans that are just making a huge scene, yelling and screaming
just
at the
enough
TV.
people to go, USA! USA!
Exactly.
There's 4 of you
Exactly.
go, yeah!
I told you. It doesn't matter. Comes out.
All right, so after all that, she eventually turns professional in 2015. Now, she went to the Rio Olympics, of course. That's a whole other story. Her performance there was, as we said earlier, her response to that was world class, right? Let's get her on and talk to her.
USA! 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 Now I know Marcus, dude. I'm one of those Olympics dudes. Like I see it, I stand up, I'm screaming at my TV, I'm sweating profusely, I'm wearing my red, white, and blue, and I get overwhelmed with the pride, not only the pride, but really the beauty of the competition, man, because there are no other places left, I believe, on the planet where there's a purity of competition that brings out the best in the human condition.
I think it's one of the only times where you sit down and you lose track of what you're watching, the sport, right? It's
time.
I know that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense when you say it out loud, but man, I'm watching my teammate out there compete against everybody else, right? And you just want them to win, and that's the energy.
It's the pure energy, right? And it's that connection. So
in its purest form, right? Because you got everybody's a fan of something, but when the Olympics roll around, man, you're a fan of the Olympics. So
I'm a fan of badminton. I'm a fan of weightlifting. I'm a fan of everything. But one of the greatest things that I gotta tell you is this woman that's on with us today, and there's multiple reasons, and I'm going to quickly say this, and I got to flatter you, Missy, just before I bring you on, but because you not only are you one of the most unbelievable competitors I've ever witnessed in my entire athletic life, which started at 3 years old myself, but also the way with which you carry yourself, the positivity you bring to not only the sport, but to people, and to your humility, but it's just the energy you possess. It translates across all levels, and it is just an incredible honor and privilege for Marcus and the Wizard and I to have you on with us. So welcome to the show, Missy.
Wow, I cannot thank you enough. All of that means the absolute world to me. I'm so stoked to be here with you guys today. It is an honor to be talking with you guys.
It's funny, and for our listeners out there, finding guests for this show is we really make a concerted effort to spread it across all demographics, all concepts, all professions, everything, because that's what we need to understand how people summon up the never quit mindset. So as you can imagine, you're always focused on trying to bring an Olympian in because of the purity of that. And I'm sitting with my buddy Lex McMahon a few weeks ago, right, Marcus? And I'm just like, I can't find an athlete. I would love to have an Olympian. And he's like, oh, dude, my buddy's like good friends with Missy Franklin. Would she be cool? And I was like, what? Where you been on that, dude? So obviously it came through. So I want to just thank everybody that involved us getting to you, Missy, and thank you for making time for us.
Perfect. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that it worked out.
All right. Now, here's the deal. Now, just like any sport activity, just like any Marcus? Any warm up?
Anything you got to do when you get out of bed and go do.
Yeah, to get the body to go, the brain going, especially. We got to do a little warm up, Missy. So what we do is we do something called the Mad Minute. Now, in our world, in the special operations and intelligence world, you do a Mad Minute when you you capture some guy on an assault on a target. You give him this quick Mad Minute to get
this all sounds really familiar to me. Yeah, absolutely.
It's exactly what you deal with every time you got to go in. As soon as you finish the biggest race of your life, and they shove a camera and microphone.
Still breathing heavy.
Yeah, that's the best part, right? It's like, Jim, run up in there.
Can't catch my breath.
Hard enough to get O2 in here already. All right, put that microphone. They need to put like a cannula on that thing, right? At least has the sympathy for the athlete while I'm over here hyperventilating because I just put out my soul to win this thing. Right? I actually yell at the camera when they're doing that. I'm like, look at this dude. Come on, man. She's got.
Give her a break, man. Yeah. Give her a break. All right. Well, this.
You ought to see it. You imagine if they did that when we swim. I come out of the water. I got snot hanging everywhere. I mean, it's a put out evolution too, man.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
I hated people. I had a hatred for people when I got out of the ocean. If you got near me, I would have stabbed you in your throat. Get away from me!
I just got my butt handed to me for the last, 8.5 hours. I'm not letting a human do it.
No chance. No. All right, Missy, are you ready for the Mad Minute?
I am so ready for the Mad Minute.
All right, Marcus.
I feel like I was born for this. Like, this is what I was made for, this minute right here.
This is the culmination of your entire career as the Mad Minute, right?
Exactly right. All right.
This is what I've been training for. This is it. Like, this is the moment.
I'm going to need it.
Right. That moment, right, when it all comes together. All right, what was your first car?
My first car was a Toyota 4Runner. He was silver, and his name is Blake.
But did you say Blake?
Yeah.
Why did you choose the name Blake?
I was going to say, we get into that. That could be a whole conversation right there.
It's a little embarrassing, but every Blake that I've ever met in my entire life has been very, very attractive.
Has been
and
silver
I just
and
thought
Japanese.
my car was very attractive. So I went with Blake.
That's genius, by the way. That's genius.
Starting to run through all the Blakes we know now.
All right, Wizard, throw one out, bud.
Okay, give me one person that you admire for their physical ability and one person you admire for their mental ability.
Oh my gosh. One person I admire for physical ability. That's so tough. There's so many. So I have gotten to know a lot of Paralympians over the years.
Awesome.
And in my mind, the Paralympics are just one of the most inspirational things you could ever watch, ever witness. And so there's so many Paralympians that I've met that have been through so much in their life and have, you talk about never quit. I mean, a Paralympian is literally the definition of never quitting. So I've gotten to know some of them really well. People who have had these unbelievable accidents happen to them and go on to become multiple world record and gold medalists. And it's just, I honestly could pick one because I think they're all just so special in what they do and the way that they've chosen to live their life and fight for it, when a lot of people might have taken a different option.
That is a great answer, man. That is an epic. How about mentally?
Oh, mentally. Honestly, it's silly and it's cheesy, but it's my mom. I mean, my mom, like,
that's cool.
The absolute best, and I can't even imagine growing up. I mean, she was working full time as a family doctor. She worked with people with special needs, and she was exhausted every day when she got home, but she would never act like it. And she would pick me up at 4 a.m, take me to work out, drop me off at school, go to work, pick me up, take me to work out after school, bring me home, make dinner, and just repeat. And she never ever let it show. And she was so supportive, and is amazing. And I think if I've gotten older, I've started to have a greater appreciation for her and everything that she's done for me. So I'm hoping to be half the mom that she is one day to my own children.
Well, that's the start right there. It's just the recognition of how awesome she is. And that influence and allowing it to come through you. All right. If you could be a professional athlete in any other sport, what would it be?
Beach volleyball.
Awesome. Awesome.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Very cool.
I can't run in general, let alone on the sand, so I would make a fool out of myself, but I think it's amazing, and Carrie Walsh-Jennings is one of my Olympic role models, so for sure beach volleyball.
I love that woman. Marcus can't run worth a squat anyway.
No,
you can't. You suck at running.
Well-known fact that I cannot run at all. I don't even like talking about it.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Right there with you.
All right, a movie character you'd like to play out in real life.
Oh, movie character I'd like to play out in real life. Maverick from Top Gun.
Oh,
He was cool, right?
Super cool.
He was cool, man.
super cool.
Only dude I know can ride a motorcycle down a flight line.
He's legit.
Well, all right. So, a question for you. I don't know if anybody's been watching the news, but some Russian jet did a flyby on one of our stealth planes or something. And all I could think about when I heard the story was that the pilot gave our pilot the international symbol of hello.
Yeah, I was wondering if that.
Is that twisted?
Yeah.
Did you think the same thing? Oh my God!
I got you.
What were you doing up there? Foreign relations?
Foreign relations, right here, buddy. All right,
Yep.
Wizard, fire away.
If you could be president for a day, give us one thing that you would do. Let's just assume. No, if you could be Queen of the United States.
Oh, interesting.
We'll eliminate all the limitations on the executive branch for a day. What would you do?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't want to get too political because I never really like getting into that too much. But
That ain't us.
I don't know everything. I don't know everything about it, and I wish that I knew more. But my dad works for Clean Tech Open, and he's very passionate about the environment and working for our planet. So I would try and figure out a way to reconcile the Paris Agreement and figure out a way to make that benefit everyone that's a part of it, so that we can do what we can right now to save the future of the only home that we have.
I love that. That's a great answer right there. I think that's the first legitimate answer we got. Matt, we had a guy on, Matt Best, who's a former
Always back
Army
to this.
Ranger, is a big social media guy, and he's got a bunch of YouTube videos. And he said, if I was president for a day, I would create an international incident. And I don't know what that meant, but you're the first one who actually gave us a legit answer. I love it.
Hey, what did that mean?
Yeah, you don't know with Matt. That's the crazy
he went
thing.
on to specify that he would sleep with Putin's wife.
I forgot that it was that detailed. That seems
That's
poignant.
the second
too.
reference to Russia and international relations. We're going to go for 3.
I would also, go bowling in the White House.
That's
that
cool.
Seemed, a little bit more secondary to the important stuff.
I think it's right up there, right? That's a memory. Did you bowl in the White House when you went?
No,
No?
not yet.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You'll be there soon, dude. Yeah. All right, go for it.
All right, would
You
you?
gotta do it. You gotta get a strike for us.
Oh, well,
You gotta
I'll
do
video it. I'll send one of the balls through the ceiling over the top. I'll make it memorable.
Marcus will be the first person in history to dent the White House bowling floor.
God dang it.
Go for it, bro.
All right. Would you rather always lose or never play?
Ooh, good one.
Oh, always lose.
Yeah.
For sure.
Wow, that was
Absolutely.
a great question, dude. When did you pull that one out?
I was thinking about it. There's that fine divider between what we have to do and what everyone else does, and I was just wondering what that would be, man. Always in the fight, right?
Yeah. That is a great question, dude. I'm writing that one down. I'm going to steal that one next time.
I would say always lose, because I don't do what I do to win. I do what I do to learn, and I learn more when I lose.
Well, and you love it, right? It's not a win and losing, and that's kind of the unique thing about us too, man. It wasn't because we never trained for losing.
No,
I never thought about it. I mean, like in my mind, we didn't lose. And me being known for the only SEAL that's had his ass with, it's bitter irony, but never. That's not the point.
I digress.
Love is blind. That's where I'm going.
Great point.
Oh, that's why I love you so much, brother. I love. All right. You're on the starting blocks of the next Olympics. You had to choose between two artists to listen to. U2 or Katy Perry? Who's it going to be?
It's going to be Katy Perry.
Yeah, I love it. I'm trying to make the transition.
Note that you're the only one that cheered for that.
Well, no, because I have two little girls, and they're into that kind of pop music, and I'm trying to make the transition.
Trying to embrace it, huh?
I have to. Otherwise,
I just love something fun. Like anything that makes me want to dance, that's the kind of mood I need to be in before I compete. So as long as I have something like that, I'm set.
Well, one of my favorite things that I saw about you and that I heard you say was, you said, someone asked you, what do you do right before you start on the block? And you said, I smile. And I just thought that was so wonderful to hear. And that's the whole essence of why we do anything, right? For that joy and passion.
Yeah.
I really did.
Why is that, Missy?
Absolutely.
Why is it that you smile? What does that do for you?
For me, it helps me keep things in perspective. That, whether I'm smiling before the most important race of my life at an Olympic Games, or whether I'm smiling before, a really hard practice that I'm going to have, it just helps remind me that, I do this because I love it and because I want to inspire people. And if I'm out there having fun, like that's what's going to be inspiring to people. I'm going out there and fighting and doing my best. And that smile always just reminds me that like, I'm so loved, and I've had so many blessings throughout my entire life. And it's just swimming. It's something I love, and it's something I care about, but it's not something that defines me as a person. And I love it with all my heart, but it's me. So I'm just going to go have fun with it and see what I can do.
Amen. Amen to that. I love that. You know what? I think that's a great place to end the Mad Minute. And let's pivot. So the reason why listeners come here, Missy, is for really the meat and potatoes. Obviously, we've had some incredible stories and guests on before, and our listeners are here because there's a lot of people, as you know, I'm sure you get inundated with fan mail and people reaching out to you and telling you that I was going through this, I saw an interview, or I saw your performance, and it sparked something in me that made me want to change my life. And that really is the whole essence of why we're doing what we're doing. And so if you could, please share your greatest never quit story or stories with our listeners so they can gain some just profound insight from, the incredible person that you are.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. I think mine might be a little different, especially, considering my career and what I've had. But I think my greatest never quit moment has been in the time of failure and not success. I've learned so much over the past almost 10 years that I've been on the national team. I started on the national team when I was 13, and I've traveled to 22 plus countries and seen the world because of this thing that I love so much. And it's incredible. But, it's hard when you're 17 years old to come out on the scene and have the best meet of your life and, have it be an Olympic Games and have everyone know you for that. And I was so grateful for it. But coming into my second Games, to have that kind of pressure was really unbelievable. At just 21, feeling all these expectations of having to be better than I was and having to bring that same personality to the table and still be the shining star, and almost as if I hadn't gone through anything in the past 4 years. Like, It was almost like I should have been able to just right back up again. And so I definitely think that was really, really hard. And so I trained harder than I've ever trained before in my life. And, trials, I didn't make the team in all the events that I wanted to. And that was already very emotional. And getting to Rio, that was my never quit moment, was just swimming at Rio, because I knew that I did everything I possibly could to be prepared for that moment. And for whatever reason, I knew that I wasn't going to be where I needed to be. To still go out there and to still fight and to still give my best, knowing that I felt like I was going to be disappointing people, disappointing myself, disappointing my family, disappointing my friends with my results. Like, that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. But it was either, not go and just give up and not try, or it was just going out there and kind of like we were saying, either would you rather always lose or never compete? And I would have so much rather gone out there and fought for it regardless of what the results were. And it gave me the opportunity to be an inspiration in disappointment, which is what I really felt like I was being called to do during that time of my life. Is I think it's very easy to be an inspiration during times of success and during times of great accomplishments. It's easy to inspire people when you're doing great and everything is going perfect. It's not easy to inspire people when your dreams have fallen apart right in front of you. And so I took that upon myself to say, you know what, everyone fails. Everyone has dreams that they want to achieve that they don't. And that doesn't mean you don't try, and that doesn't mean you get down on yourself. It means that you still handle yourself in exactly the same way as if you had just won every single gold medal. Like, your attitude should never change regardless of what that outcome is. And so looking back on it, I'm very grateful for the opportunity and the learning experience that it was. But going through those games, and we were joking about it earlier with the cameras being right in your face, but having to get out immediately after every race and having people, ask what's wrong with you? Like, what's going on? Like, why aren't you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Like, how are you? Like, you must be so disappointed in yourself, and just really just knives to heart. And, repeatedly through the entire media zone and after every race, having to go through this and just saying, like, I don't know. Like, I did everything I possibly could to be here, and for some reason, like, it's not here and it's not happening, but I'm still doing my best, and I'm trying as hard as I can to have a smile on my face through all of it. And so it's definitely not the most fun experience to go through.
Oh my God, I can't imagine.
But looking back, it's been incredible, the influence that it's had on my life and on me as a person. And I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason and on its own time. So still learning from it every day. But I think fighting through that meet, fighting to be as much of an inspiration as I still could, even though things were going the complete opposite way that I wanted them to, was probably my biggest never quit moment.
That's a great point. I mean, you have the pressure of training, right? Pressure to make the Olympics, and you have the pressure to win the gold medal or to perform. Your first game's out. I mean, if you just dominate, and then when you go back, you have the exact same pressures as you had at the beginning, but then you have that added one, right? To repeat.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of one of those deals when we were talking about how humble she is. When the athletes that stay humble, the people that support them, they'll always support them because they're humble, and it reminds them that, hey, I can do that. There's a chance I might be able to do that too. When you get the cocky athlete, everybody wants them to fail.
Totally.
Right? Even though you rooted for them in the beginning, it's once they get there, you're like, man, I don't think you're appreciating this. I want to see you get beat. You know what I'm talking about? It's unbelievable. The pressure, there's just, everyone thinks just getting in the pool and swimming that's the competition against each other is the one thing, man. But when you have that added pressure, having to go back in there and still carry that's kind of something that's supposed to fall on you with age, right? I mean, that kind of pressure falls on you with age, so like, I've been in this situation, I can handle this. And you get that right out of the gate. A lot of people crumble under that pressure. They don't perform the next game, man. That's it. It's that they get that mental gap in there. And you're right. The people coming out, they're just like, man, that sure was a bad swim. What's the matter with you? You cramping up? Did you have bad dinner last night? I mean, what's going on? Yeah, like, I don't know. I put out with everything I had. A lot of people forget. I mean, those athletes are in there. The competition between the other people is one thing. The competition with us, I mean, as a country, we put that on them. Like, hey, you're representing us, man. Get in there and do what you got.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the pedestal something is very interesting. And if we could just backtrack a little bit after the London Games, obviously that had to have just flipped your life just on its end. And now all of a sudden you because you seem like the person who appreciates, the influence that you have. You really do. You don't tread lightly with it, and you understand the power of it. And who was it that helped you adapt to that level of influence and keep perspective on it after the London Games?
Oh my gosh, there's so many people. I would say, it was for sure a combination of my parents, my friends and teammates, and my coaches. Those three, the people that have been with me since day one, awesome. Who constantly remind me like who I am and why I do what I do. I think they were there to help remind me to first and foremost enjoy the ride, like to think that this thing that I started when I was 5 years old that I love so much, now has given me this platform of inspiration. And, that is such a privilege in and of itself to just soak that in and, realize like what had happened and what I had accomplished and, really appreciating the hard work that had been put into that. And also to remind myself, that I am who I always was. Like nothing was different about myself, 3 months after Rio versus 3 months before Rio. It was exactly the same person that I am today and that I always will be. And so to have that kind of grounding, to have that kind of humility surrounding me all the time, it really has helped shape me to who I am today. And it's all from the people who know me better than anyone else.
We talk about that all the time. And Marcus, you just, I love the way you talk about how, what's the saying that you say that?
Oh, they have a strength that covers down on a weakness that I possess.
And I love that comment, right? And they have a strength that covers down on a weakness I possess. And everybody that's come on and dealing with their never quit moment, or like you said, your most successful moments, they always have that thing. So what were some of the things that your parents, your coaches, and your friends and teammates would tell you even after Rio? What was some of the ideas that you gravitate towards that they would repeat over and over for you?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that they really helped reinforce, and now it's one of the greatest things when I go talk places, when I go meet with kids, of all ages, one of the greatest things I talk about is that you are so much greater than the one thing you identify with most. So whether that's being a Navy SEAL, whether it's being an Olympic swimmer, like you have so much more to offer than just what it is that you're best at or what it is that you're most passionate about. You have so much else that you're capable of doing. There's nothing stopping you, from whatever it is. So for me, like there's so many different things. And I think Rio was hard because, I didn't realize how much I related my identity with swimming. And so when that was taken in such a harsh and disappointing way away from me, it really forced me to look inside myself and say, okay, like who am I when I'm not successful at swimming? Who am I when I don't have this thing that's been such a huge part of who I am my entire life? And, it really was incredible. I sat back and I said, I'm a daughter, like to my mom and dad. I'm a daughter of Christ. Like Amen. I'm a friend, I'm a cousin, I'm a classmate. Like I'm a teammate. I'm all these different things. And there's so much more that I have to offer as a person than just what I can do in a pool. And to have that moment, again, we go back to it just being very humbling and realizing and it's a hard lesson to learn, but it's also a beautiful lesson to learn because you realize that you do have so much more to offer than what maybe other people just see you being able to offer.
I love that concept that you're more than a title, you're more than one specific act, and I think one of the beautiful aspects in what you talked about was the influence and disappointment. And it's really a unique concept that for most often within the human condition happens in very private ways. And I think one of the things that and I'm going to shift focus a little bit over to Marcus, and one of the things that really, makes me so proud to know Marcus is what he was able to do in a similar fashion with Lone Survivor, and how that story really enhances people's belief that saying, hey, even people that are at the pinnacle of their game fail in capacities much of the time by extenuating circumstances beyond their control. But if you just stay in the fight mentally and be, like you're saying, Missy, who you are to your core and what you believe in and what you're faithful to, man, you can have as much of an influence as in that disappointment as in success. I think that's awesome storyline, Marcus, and you felt that quite a bit, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. We say don't ever let anybody's perception of you become your reality.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you need to take a step back and ask yourself what you are, that's okay. I mean, that happens to you when you're younger, too. And if you get in a discipline like swimming or anything that has to do with the Olympics, man, that is a focus that is unbelievable, right? So you can you get this preconceived notion that this is all that I am, but it's not, man. This is just it's part of me, all right? And it enables me to be everything else.
Well, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you're onto something there in its essence. And it's how many hours have you been in a pool? How much shriveled skin? How many aches and pains? How many early mornings? How much regulated food? How much? I mean, the magnitude of that effort, it's not the Olympic gold medal that defines Missy. It's your focus and your passion and your love and the willingness to sacrifice in all those.
Oh, well, the gold medal lets everybody else know what you put in. That's when you stand up there and you put that gold medal around your neck. That's so we can all look at you and say, man, that put the work in. You can just kind of assume that you have an understanding of what that means. But the best in the world, that's what an Olympian is. You know what I'm talking about? You're standing up there, the best in the world, man. That's
right there. And who put the work? Missy, can you help our listeners understand the power of hard work in shaping the mindset and what reward will they feel when they start moving into that realm of sacrifice?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in my opinion, the harder you work, the easier it's going to be to have that mindset to push you forward, because the more you pour yourself into something, the more you dedicate to something, the more you're willing to make sacrifices for it. Like, that is just such a huge part of giving a piece of yourself up so you can truly do something that you know you're capable of doing. And maybe you don't know you're capable of it. Maybe you're just hoping that you are. But the fact that you're putting yourself into this position that's giving you a chance, like, that's all that matters. And for me, growing up, it was so easy to make those sacrifices and to work my butt off because I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And when you love something and when you're going into it every day, saying, all right, today I have the opportunity to get better at what I love. And that is not a right. There are so many people who would love to do something different than what they're doing, who would love to get better at something that they're passionate about, and they don't have that opportunity. So the fact that I had that every single day, it was amazing, and it was a blessing, and it was something that I was never, ever, ever going to take advantage of. And so while there's, of course, like you guys know, so many mornings at 4 a.m. when the last thing I want to do is get out of bed and go jump in a freezing cold pool in Colorado. Like, those were the days where my trainer used to always tell me, Lauren Landau, he would say if some guys didn't show up to work out, he would go, oh, well, I guess they like the feeling of their pillow more than they like the feeling of success.
Awesome.
And it's easy to get comfortable. It's one of my favorites. I live by it now, but it's one of my favorite sayings that people like to be comfortable. And chances are, if you're comfortable, you're not doing it right and you're not doing enough.
I love
So
that.
it's about getting comfortable and being uncomfortable and pushing yourself to the point that's new and different for you, because that's what's going to get you to places that you never even knew you were capable of being.
Well, I mean, that's Olympians carry a weight similar to what we carry in the military. I mean, we get up first thing in the morning before the sun's even up to go out to get into the misery to train. And then when we have to go out and perform, we're performing not in front of our country, but ultimately it is, right? And if we fail, it's death. If you guys fail, that feeling of
letting your country
down is huge, man, on our part and y'all's, man. It's that similar pressure. It's just, it'll be overwhelming, man.
It's big, for sure.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think that also that people we've talked about the support structure in those trying times. We've talked about the work ethic in those trying times. Or is there something that when you're in the midst of the pain, where your shoulders are on fire, where your back, where your eyes are burning, and you got another 3 hours, what are you saying to yourself, Missy? Do you have a mantra? Like Diana Nyad used to talk about when the jellyfish were stinging her face and she felt like, she was going to stop breathing. She'd start singing songs in her mind. She had a song she would sing, or, she would think of a particular mantra or something. Other people talk about other powerful moments. Do you have something like that you recite or you go to?
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of have two things. One of them I think you guys will really appreciate, but my personal mantra, I can't remember who said it, but it's pain is temporary and glory is forever.
Yeah.
And for me, when I repeat that, it's just such, especially in athletics, it's such a good reminder that, heck yeah, this hurts right now. Like everything, I can't feel my arms, I can't feel my legs, I don't have oxygen, like my body just is literally shutting down. And it's just that reminder that that's not gonna last. Like in 10 seconds, your hand's gonna be on the wall and it's gonna be gone. And you turn around and if you see something that you've always dreamt of accomplishing, you're not even gonna remember the pain. It's not gonna be there. But what you accomplish, will stay with you forever. And when I was in London, what they did is they had every country's flag lined up above the middle of the pool. And about 15 meters out from the finish, they had the American flag. And I was warming up and I saw this and I was doing backstroke. And I told myself, it was the night before my 200 backstroke. And I said, I'm going to be coming in. I'll be almost done. I'll be more exhausted than I've ever been in my life. But when I see that American flag, I'm going to remember who it is I'm fighting for, why I'm doing this, and how much bigger this is than just me. And I'm going to finish this race with all my heart and soul, whatever it takes.
That's
and so
awesome.
that night did the 200 back and I saw that flag and it was that was all I needed, is that reminder to be this is so much bigger than you. And what you're feeling right now is nothing compared to what this race is about to bring you, but more importantly, going to bring to other people.
I think that's such a critical aspect to in any type of thing that you're driving towards, where that it becomes bigger than you. It's not solely about yourself. Yes, it's critical to have purpose and passion and drive towards accomplishing specific goals, but if you can put some aspect of servitude behind it. I remember my first trip to Afghanistan was SEAL Team 1, and we all were wearing New York City firefighter patches. And I remember before every op, we'd go out and, you look down at that patch, I'd rub that patch, and it was for those firefighters. It was for all those people in the towers. It was for the people at the Pentagon. And I've heard similar stories from, your era and even eras after that, when you can manifest effort through higher level meanings, you're able to really push past those.
Well, it drowns the pain out.
Yeah, that's
what drowns
saying.
the pain out. That feeling of you didn't even have to accomplish the mission, right? You just at the end game, you know what the end game is, and once you've been there, that's the beautiful part about it too. Once you've experienced it, and it happens in training, right? Once you know what that end game is, man, the pain that you have to go through in the middle is worth it, because at the end of it, that accomplishment, man, just you don't even feel the pain anymore. And believe it or not, it's still there. You're like, oh yeah, man, I was dying just about 2 seconds ago. I literally felt like I was dying 2 seconds ago. What just happened? Because you can't go from feeling like you're about to die and then being perfectly okay in 2 seconds.
No.
Whatever the end game just flushed all that out, and that's the drug, right? That's the
drug.
rush, man. That's what gets you back in there at that 4 a.m. Like, oh yeah, this is terrible, man. Why am I doing this? And then you think back to yesterday or something, yep, I see it, man. I got it. All right, it's worth it. And then that pain threshold, each time you fall into it and you keep pushing, it actually stretches your pain threshold like a muscle.
I love that concept.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And then and how you know if you put more work in than the person next to you, man, is when you both get in, because humans are humans. You're going to find out who's trained in the pain threshold the longest. and that's when they die. And that's how why our training is the way it is, right? They completely
absolutely.
wash away every like good feeling. Because from the minute we get up to the minute we go to bed, it's chaos and pain. And then you learn to thrive. You're like, hey, let's do this, baby. I don't want to go to bed. I want to get up. I'm scared to go to bed.
Yeah, totally, right? Totally. All right, this is an interesting question. I'd love to pivot back to you, Missy, on pain threshold and how it relates not only to obvious the physical pain's obvious. You just went through 2 shoulder surgeries. But more so in the mental pain of moving through the extended period of failure like we talked about. Do you use the past mental pain as a motivator for what's ahead of you?
You know, that's an awesome question. And to be completely honest with you, I think I'm still figuring that out. I think I'm still trying to figure out whether or not that's going to be something that's going to help me or something that's going to hurt me. And I'm kind of giving myself the space to figure that out and just to like let that happen. And, you know, if I'm having a hard time, you know, maybe think about the things that I've been through and think about how hard it was. And, you know, then if that doesn't always work, because sometimes that doesn't leave you with the best taste in your mouth, right? You know,
No,
thinking about,
sucks.
all right, instead of, you know, maybe focusing a little bit too much on those disappointments, like, why do I want to do this now? Because the only reason why I want to do this now is so that I don't feel disappointed. In my mind, that's not a good enough reason. And so I need to find a reason that's like, I want to do this now because right now in this spot, I want to inspire again. I want to make a difference again. I want to be better than I ever was. And all of those are so much more than just, I want to fail. And that's the only reason why I'm still doing this. So I think it's a bit of a combination, but I think mainly it's going to be a lot of me looking forward as to why I want to do this right now with who I am today versus why I would have wanted to do it 6 months ago.
Yeah, I think it's important to say this too. I mean, there's times in everyone's life, especially if you compete at a level like everybody here, that where you're going through all that and you're racking your brain for that motivating piece of whatever, and then sometimes it comes down and be like, well, I'm just here and I can't quit because no one will come get me, and I already started and going. And you're just like, I'm the one that has to do this. That's what it boils down to, man. And I was thinking about what you're talking about. Like, we went through Hell Week and that relative pain.
Yeah.
When I was in Afghanistan, I knew how long I could go.
Because of that.
Right. And that pain that we go through in our past is just something, it lets us know what we can take, not what we have to take every single day. I mean, it's kind of like driving down the road and you miss your exit. Yeah. You know the next exit is 20 miles down the road. You can do it. You have figured out every way to either turn around or just suck it up and be like, damn it. Missed it again. You know what I'm talking about? And that's when you start rattling those things in your head. And it takes that kind of stuff, man. I mean, those people who aren't special or naturally gifted, if you're that knuckle dragger, you got to come up with that crap, man.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
I mean,
This
it's a
is point
struggle.
of no return motivation.
Yeah.
Totally. That's genius right there.
It's point of no return motivation.
Genius.
And we had an op one time. Literally, the sun went down. We inserted, and rear security was still on the insertion on top of the mountain because the terrain was so bad. There was a mash chief out there who was like, I quit. I quit right now. Damn it. Gotta get out of here. And he goes, wait, I can't quit because I got to get out of here. It was so bad, right? And then there's just that moment you're like, man, that's when it helps to have teammates.
Totally.
You know what I'm talking about?
Totally.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Do you have somebody right now specifically, and you don't have to name them by name if it's true, do you have somebody right now that you're bouncing these questions off of? Like maybe somebody in the athletic world or at the high level.
I'm sorry, let me interrupt you real quick before we go down that road. Let's find out, she said that she's working on trying, whether that's going to be beneficial to her. Where are you right now, Missy, mentally? What are you focusing on? What is your approach now in this road back?
Great question.
I mean, that's a good question, Dave, but I just want to hear that before we, move further.
No, absolutely. So, it's a very different spot than I've ever been in before. You mentioned it, and, not only am I coming off kind of the emotional injury per se of Rio, but also the physical as well. I just had 2 shoulder surgeries earlier this year, and it turns out you kind of need both your shoulders to swim. Like, who would have thought?
Yeah.
So, like, getting back into it, it's definitely been a little bit, it's been challenging and it's been hard, but I'm in an amazing training situation right now. I'm still training at Cal Berkeley, but I'm training with the men's team. So it's me and 35 guys every day, and they're amazing, and they totally kick my butt, and it's awesome. And I love being pushed that hard every day. And I think, you know, I've taken a little time off to just be present and enjoy some of the things that I may not have had the opportunity to enjoy before. So I'm taking the summer off from international competition, and instead I'm going on a 10-day long Mediterranean cruise with my parents.
Yeah, which, that's like, cool. I never,
you know, like the past, you know, 9-10 years of my life, I've never ever been able to do anything like that before. And so I think it's really important for me right now in this time of my life to be normal, to be as average as possible, and like have a real summer and be with my parents and spend time with them. So that way, when it is time for me to get serious again, which I foresee it being very soon, that I'm ready, that I'm filled up, that I've had, you know, this love and this time to really just be me and enjoy these experiences, so that when I come back, I'm fresh and I'm rejuvenated and I'm ready to just work my butt off again.
You can tell you love the water. I mean, if I was going on vacation, it damn shouldn't be a cruise.
I should go to the mountains.
Or something.
Well, she lives out in
the desert.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
The desert.
I've seen
there's no water at all.
I didn't want a glass of water. Man, just, you know.
I love it.
Yeah, well, it's that torture segment of the water that just ruined me, man.
Hey, I'm with you, brother.
Right?
Yeah, you can keep it.
You want to go on a cruise? No, I don't want to go on a cruise.
You touched on a really, I think, profound concept of refilling the soul. And when that soul gets depleted, and whatever framework for a person it may be, whether it's a destroyed relationship, whether it's a failure professionally, whether it's some type of loss, or even just the truth of where they're at with their abilities, can be very depleting. And so refilling that recovery concept, but on a much deeper plane. And so to revisit the question that I asked right before the wizard so rudely interrupted me with the best question of the interview so far.
I don't know about that.
What? It was awesome. What?
You're awesome.
Who is the person?
You are awesome. Missy, you're awesome.
Marcus, you're awesome, bud. Everyone's awesome. Awesome. Missy, where are you who are the people that are refilling that reservoir for you right now?
You know, there's a lot. Right now, the main people are the people who see me as so much more than just Missy the swimmer.
Cool.
So, you know, that's talking about people who just love me for exactly who I am. And if I decided to give up the sport tomorrow, which I won't, but they would be the people that would not be any less a part of my life or would love me any less, that they see my value as so much more than that. And so I think I needed some of that from them and to spend time with them, and they've been so gracious to give me some of that and help me fill up, and then I get it from different places. You know, I think we go back to having that balance, and I talk to people in the swimming world who have gone through something similar to see how they handle it. I talk to people who have no idea how to swim about what I'm going through and what their experiences are, and you know, just having, I think, different people to get opinions and bounce it off of really helps you kind of form your own personal perspective on it and helps you get through it. So I'm very fortunate to have literally the best support system ever in my life.
Awesome. All right. So in this downtime, what are the things that are in your life that give you joy like swimming does? Or, you know, what are your hobbies? What are the stuff you like to, what type of books do you like to read? What music are you listening to? What shows are you binge watching on Netflix? What does Missy's life look like outside of the pool, which, you know, is a big part of who you are and your character as, you know, in its totality?
Good question.
Yeah, absolutely. So normally it's almost entirely taken up with school. So I still have a year left at Berkeley, and it just, oh my gosh, it wrecks me. So I love going to school. I learn so much, but it's one of the most challenging things. Berkeley is amazing, but it's so tough. So normally that's what I'm doing other than swimming. But during the summer, when I have a little bit of a break, I still love to learn, but I kind of like to learn different things. So being a Christian is the most important things. It is the most important thing in life. And so
Amen.
I love to read books and, go through and, whether it's, different topics or, different Bible studies. And I love mentoring to people and, being there for them and helping them in their walk with Christ. I never feel like I'm doing anything that will be more meaningful than when I'm doing something like that. So I love taking the time to do that and just grow in my faith and grow in my relationship with God. And I love to eat. So I love going to new restaurants and trying new food and exploring the areas that I'm in. Just really, I love adventures. I love adventures with new people and with new food and with, just being able to go out and have a great time and just let life happen wherever you're at.
That's cool. I'm assuming that, you're inquisitive at high levels with other people and that you're fascinated by their stories as well. As you kind of exude that desire to want to learn about others. I mean, that's part of the great humility of true champions. If you tell us a little bit more about the interacting with children and those influences. I know it's one of those things that really has a lot of passion. You mentioned it a bunch of times. There's a lot of stuff online available about it. Can you teach us a little bit about what it is you're doing with kids and why it's so meaningful for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the first things anyone knows about me is that I am obsessed with babies and kids, obsessed. I have this serious problem where I will touch random strangers' babies in public and have to remember that that's super creepy and not okay, and I can't do that. And if people ever come up and ask me to hold their child and take a picture, they don't realize that they're not getting their child back. I'm obsessed. I love them. And so just getting to spend so much time with them, a lot of the stuff that I'm doing as a part of, different foundation, USA Swimming Foundation, Safe Splash Schools, is essentially just getting kids in the water and teaching them how to swim. I'm really fortunate that I'm in the only sport that will save your life and the only sport that you can do for the rest of your life.
Amen.
And so the fact that I get to go out and give lessons, drowning is an epidemic in our country. It's unbelievable. I think it's upwards of 9 people drown every single day.
Wow.
Which as a swimmer is just so heartbreaking because that is so preventable. It's so preventable. And so a lot of the work that I do is just going into different areas and visiting different swim clubs who are really trying to make a difference with getting kids involved in swim lessons and providing discounted or free cost swim lessons to communities that may not have been able to afford them, and just getting in the water with kids and seeing how much fun they have and their love for it. And it's awesome. I get to combine 2 of my greatest passions, so I couldn't be more fortunate.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Well, I got a question real fast. I know a lot of times people are watching the Olympics. How do you even get into that? I would imagine some people it's not even in my area to even start training to compete to get to that platform. I mean, is that true? It's hard to make the games, but is it difficult to even find a place to start training to where you can compete to get there?
It's very unique and it's different for every sport. Oh my gosh, I've been swimming in Colorado my whole life. They have different kind of swim clubs across the country where you can go, but if you look at the national team, everyone is so spread out and everyone is at their own clubs with their own teams. There's not really 1 or 2 places. We have the Olympic training centers that you can go and train at, but a majority, especially of swimmers, don't live there full time and actually train there. So a lot of it is just finding a place that works best for you and whatever makes you happy. And, growing up being a swimmer in Colorado, a lot of people were telling me you need to move, you're with this coach that, was just starting and he's never done this, done that. Like, you need to be in California or Florida or swim state. And, my parents and I would just look at them and be like, it's working. Like, why would we go anywhere? Like, swimming fast. Like, why should we change that? And so I think a huge
I love it
is staying true to who you are and finding what you need and making the most out of it. But it is. So I was fortunate enough that at 7 years old, I found the coach that would take me through both of my Olympic Games. That's incredibly rare. But I think, it does. It comes down to just putting yourself in a situation where you're able to get what you need.
That's cool. That's really cool. Well, all right. So, we've been on for quite a bit of that now, and I know you're probably got to go, prepare for your next meal or wherever you're going to go party tonight. I don't know. But so before you jump off, what are the things there are a couple, just two final things is if the person that's sitting listening to you, whether they're driving in their car or they're in the gym or wherever they are and they're listening to your interview now, is there a couple takeaways, 2 or 3 things that you believe can be kind of the spark for them that you've utilized in your life and that you feel that are accessible to all of us? What are some of those things that you think would be beneficial for a person to begin thinking about, acting on, and just to get that never quit mindset going?
Yeah, I think 2 of them, one of which we really touched on a lot before, but it's being just as much of an inspiration and disappointment as you are in success. I think that just expands on so many different levels, whether it's family, whether it's work, whether you got a promotion or you didn't get a promotion, whether it's so many different things where we fail and succeed in different areas of our life. And I think, one of the greatest challenges we have as human beings and people is to still be the people that we want to be when things don't go our way, because that's incredibly hard and that's a huge challenge. And I think just letting people know that it's not easy for anyone to be humble and to not bawl their eyes out when everything is just a mess, but still doing your best to keep a smile on your face and trying to inspire and show that strength that you have and just share it with everyone that's around you. And I think my other one, just with how my career has gone, is that you may not know when or where your dreams will come true, but you just always have to believe that they will. And if you do, that will take you wherever you want to go. I could have never, ever in a million years imagined at 17 I was going to be leaving my first Olympic Games with 4 gold medals. I mean, it's just at 17, I never, ever, maybe later in my life, sure, but you're never too young, you're never too old. There is always an opportunity for you to accomplish something that you've always wanted to. And if you believe in yourself and if you're willing to fight for it, then there's literally nothing else that can stop you.
I love it. Well, Missy, I want to, just to wrap it up, first off, in my estimation, your real career is just going to get bigger and bigger. The power and the impact that you have on people in the service to God, and what you're going to be able to accomplish in your life beyond your swimming is going to dwarf your greatest accomplishments, Mayor, because of who you are as a person. And I hope our listeners hear that clearly, that, great successes are a vehicle to bigger and better things and a higher level purpose. And Missy, I believe that your greatest accomplishments are yet to come. And so, that being said, I also want to thank you for representing our country in the most incredible, poised, humble, amazing level out of almost any athlete I've ever had the privilege to watch over all the Olympics I've watched. And it is a true honor and privilege to call you an American patriot, an American hero, and just thank you so much for the thousands and thousands of hours you've put in to make this country better. So thank you.
Oh my gosh, that coming from you guys, it means the world, because honest to goodness, I couldn't do what I do without people like you. I mean, you give me a free country to represent, and because of that, I've been able to live out my dreams. So it is honestly because of our military and the men and women that fight for us every single day that I even get to wear an American flag on my cap. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for the hours that you've put in to protect us and to serve and to do everything that you guys do. It's truly, that's what being a hero is all about. And it's inspiring more than you know to me and to so many people.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what, here's the deal. Here's the deal. When you win in that next Olympics, no pressure, no pressure at all, none. We want to have you come back on and tell your greatest never quit story again.
Man, hear that story.
What do you think? Is
Done.
that a deal?
Done and done.
Awesome. God bless you so much, Missy. Thank you. Praying for you.
Likewise, you guys are such a pleasure. Truly, it was such an honor meeting you guys, and thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah. Take care. God bless you.
Take care. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Wizard.
See you later.
Marcus, Wizard, I know I say this every so often, but that young woman humbled me. Her poise and presence and maturity and wisdom is...
When people throw out that much energy, they're absolutely fun to be around, no matter what you're doing. Were you watching her? Because every time it looked like she was fixing to open up a present. When she sits around and gets fired up.
Oh, my God.
I love hanging around people like that, man, because it's just like no matter what you're doing, you're like, look how fired up they are, man.
Because the
that's true. It's true. It's like that magnetic personality.
Yeah. You want to take them when you know something's about, this could go, probably, whatever.
So just make life fun.
Yeah, let's bring in the...
I love it. I think for me, listening to that woman is really... And we talked about it, and I think we're going to continue talking about it, was the influence and disappointment, and being able to, and her.
Yeah, the always, she said, always be an inspiration in your failure, like you are in your success. That's
heavy.
It's deep.
That was incredible, and I mean, she's performed it on the world stage, literally the world stage.
And
I was
also,
super impressed by that.
It's not like she won. 1 gold medal in London, or she won 5 medals, 4 golds at 17.
And set world records.
And still possesses some of them, and comes back and has what happened, man. I mean, it's
That's
awesome.
a great way to describe a champion, right?
It is.
How you act in victory is how you act in defeat, kind of deal, man. And that's funny because we all look for that. We're waiting. We're waiting to see. Do you complain? Do you make an excuse? And remember, and the levels start going down immediately right after the event, after everything's said and done, man. We want to hear what comes right out of your mouth, and that literally is going to take you up a notch or take you down one, right?
Total heavy breathing and profound statements.
Yeah,
right?
Man.
Well, it's interesting, and one of the things that Wizard you had found right before in an interview. She posted on Twitter a couple months ago, when she had her shoulder surgery, said she was worried that to come out with the surgeries in fear of that her fans might believe that was the reason she didn't perform. She was injured.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Roger. Yeah, see?
You know what I mean? And she was adamant at saying, that is not why I didn't perform. I just wasn't there. I just didn't have it on that day. And that's what blows my mind. Because when you think about swimming, the thousands of repetitions, it's endless. The time invested in at that level swimming.
Isn't that the craziest thing, man? Is that it does it for us too, man. And that's why it's so important to have your teammates, because no matter how hard we train, no matter how many millions of times we do something, sometimes, man, the feeling didn't show up.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm here, man. I know how to do all this. But then there's sometimes when we're doing our deal where we're right? The energy's flowing, man.
Where you don't have to talk.
Nothing, man. It's just gone.
Changes and transitions.
That's when we break. We do some gnarly stuff. And then there's that day, man, where you
suck.
What the hell is going on?
Nothing flows.
Right?
The flow state. I love that.
Just
Thanks
nothing flows.
The Wizard, what did you take most away from Missy's interview?
Outside of what we already just talked about, I think it was you asked her or mentioned her smiling, because that's something we read. It was in our research that she does always. And then I was like, why do you do that? I wanted to hear a reason behind it. And I thought it was just so interesting how her answer spoke to, I think, her approach to why she does what she does. And I think it spoke to the attitude that she's carried through this difficulty, what got her to so much success, and what just continues to move her forward. I was really impressed by that.
Marcus?
You kept talking about this, and I love saying this to you, man. I'm an adventurer by nature, too.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people think there's no more treasures out there. There's no more adventures or getting on a ship and sailing into something unknown. Well, man, walk outside and take a left instead of a right. That kind of thing, man.
I dig it.
And if you wake up thinking every morning, man, something great's going to, an adventure, we're going to make something out of this. You know how it is when we're all together, man. You know, something's going to go down. And because we know that, we put all the energy into it to make it the best time we can absolutely have. And that's why our stories are so epic.
I like where you're going. I think the fun of life and how we share that's the adventure, right?
She
exudes that.
I mean, there's people that go through just a second of the bad stuff she's going through, and it ruins them for life. Right? They walk around with a frown or head down, just quit. And man, she's just full of just ready to get back in there, and that goes to the point to where, man, I didn't come in here to beat you. I came up here to see you try to beat me, right? I'm gonna have a fun time doing this, right? And I'm gonna put out with everything I had. And we talked about it a little bit. It's, you know, when you're on that stage representing the country, you know, some of our countrymen don't think some of the stuff's funny that we do.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? You're dealing with personalities when it comes.
I think that's a lot of people.
You know what I'm talking about? It's like, hey, that's why there's different TV shows for different people. But when it comes to the Olympics, there is different sports. But ultimately, you're an Olympian. You representing all of us. That's why when they screw up over there, it's such a big deal.
Yep.
Like some people are like, that's not a big deal. But you know, hey, go further down the line over there. It'll be a big deal to somebody.
For sure.
Knowing that they carry that at 17, God, man, remember, we talk about this all the time. 17 years old, dude. I wasn't ready to walk around with a medal around my neck.
Negative. I shouldn't have even had car keys, you know?
Yeah.
Well, for me, the greatest takeaway is just her energy and the fact that, you know, just her ability to stay positive and to have that energy, to recognize the power of influence, in particular from her parents, from God. That's just an important thing, I think, in the never quit mindset, is that you have to be grounded in something that enables you to endure, whether it's the discipline of training, whether it's the brutality of failure on the big stage, or it's just the pain, the physical pain that is affiliated with hard work and failure and all those things. So the fact that she is who she is and has that spirit, man, it's infectious to me.
I think it says a lot about the Olympics too, man, is that it doesn't matter if it's a male or a female competing or whatever the sport is, man. Most of the time we're locked in.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing, kind of like with World Cup. Like, I don't watch soccer at all.
But that
World Cup comes on, I can't help. I don't know what it is.
It's the country, I think, as it's represented.
I mean, I'm in there, dude.
You gotta root for the home team.
Yeah. I love that.
Doesn't matter what the sport is.
Exactly.
It could be eating hot dogs. I'm gonna be rooting for the guy.
Right, the dude, that one Oriental guy.
Nathan's hot dogs. I could not care about gastro Olympics or gastro athletes.
Yeah, gastro athletes.
I tell you what, if it's international, I care.
Oh. And I'm going to have my USA flag around my shoulders.
What's up? What are y'all doing here? What do you mean, what are we doing here? What are we not doing here? Why isn't everybody here?
On that note, let's shift to, again, talking to the people that we love so much, and that's our listeners and our fans. And just thank you so much for who you are and that you keep coming back to this podcast. That is certainly why the three of us do it. You are the inspiration for us. You are the reason why we go out and we find people like Missy Franklin to come on to help you, to help inspire you to overcome the obstacles in your life, to face the grace adversities, to push yourself in the combat of life, and to find that never quit spirit. And because of you, we're so blessed to be able to do this and to have fun doing it and to experience what we experience. Now, we always ask that if you have a particular story, you the listener, something that is meaningful and powerful and or just something that an experience you went through that could be shared and be beneficial to the rest of our teammates who are listening to the Team Never Quit podcast, please write in. So today we want to share one of those with you. We want to share this great story and Wizard, I think when you found this one, man, this was really good. I agree with you. It's not There's not a lot to it, but it's poignant and powerful, and it gives you a true essence of who this person is and what's in the future to come for her. So let me read this for you. My name is Hannah. I'm a law enforcement officer in rural Wyoming. It's my dream job. I spend summers driving, hiking, and four-wheeling in the woods for patrol, and spend my winters patrolling by snowmobiles and skis. I just wanted to thank all of you who do the Teen Never Quit podcast, Marcus, Rut, Wizard, all guest hosts, and everybody else involved. The TNQ podcast is the best motivational, badass pick-me-up I've ever found. Somehow, somewhere in my life,
nice. That was good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, huh?
Good, right?
Yeah, it's awesome.
That one rolled.
Oh,
We should hire her.
We should. She could write
Pretty
content
good, right?
for us. Hannah, stand by for a follow-up email.
Stand by.
So, hold on. Let me get back. Somehow, somewhere in my life, I discovered a never quit mindset. It got me through field training and some pretty intense and stressful moments, but it really came into play in my life a year and a half later. Last fall, while on duty, I was dealing with a subject who suddenly became increasingly aggressive, angry, and borderline assaultive. For a bit of perspective, I'm a pretty tiny chick, 5'4", and pretty damn skinny. And this guy was literally nearly twice my size and solid as a rock. A taser deployment, a vehicle pursuit, and lots of slightly profanity-laced shouting at gunpoint, and I finally got my guy into custody. My backup got there 5 minutes later after I had the suspect in cuffs. My brother in blue had to drive 90 miles an hour for over 30 miles to get to me. I work my butt off for the job I have, and I truly feel like I'm making a difference. But last fall's incident was a little bit of a bump in the road. It is a little bit of a wake-up call when all of a sudden you're convinced you might die, and die at the hands of a man twice your size, in the middle of the woods and in the dark. But I'm not going to stop dealing with bad guys just because one gave me a bit of a scare. The TNQ podcasts were a perfect motivator and inspiration for me after that incident. I know they will continue to be. They instill an even deeper never quit mindset and more motivation to work even harder, whether it be at training or at the gym or every day on patrol, so that I'm better prepared to take on the next great challenge that comes my way. I'm so thankful for y'all and your dedication and passion for sharing stories of ordinary people with extraordinary mindset who do incredible things. God bless and keep up the good work. Hannah, thank you for writing in.
Yep.
Really appreciate it. When you hear that, I mean, it's about the fear we face, right? And how we use that fear to get back in the fight to make ourselves better, whether it's a little bit at a time or it's a lot, depending on how our work for it. So
yeah, whether it's a high stress situation or if it's just getting out of our comfort zone on a daily basis, try something new.
Try something new. So thank you for writing in. Thank you to everybody else. Again, if you want to participate, it's simple. Go to the tnqpodcast.com webpage and submit your story. If it's awesome or it really moves us, we're going to read it on air. And Marcus, if it's awesome and off the charts, what happens then?
Bring them in here and look at them.
We're gonna get them on with us, man. We're gonna get you on with us to have you tell your story. We're gonna drill down on you like we did Missy and all our other guests. So keep them coming. If you're also a big fan and you're listening, you're downloading on iTunes or SoundCloud or Google Play, what we ask of you, the three of us and the rest of the team here, is tell somebody you know that's struggling. Tell somebody that you know that needs a boost, that's searching for that one little piece, that one little spark that's going to push them outside that comfort zone and help them, get better at life, to take on those hardships and do it with a smile on their face like Missy Franklin. So I just want to say, as we sign off, I want to say I'm thankful for God Almighty. I'm thankful for my girls. I'm thankful to all of you, the two of you, and doing this with me. I'm thankful to be back, and I just want to say I'm thankful for the listeners for sharing with us these stories and to keep inspiring us to do this. Marcus, what are you thankful for?
I loved having her on, man.
Me too.
Yeah.
And we were talking about one of those, best way I can describe it, that bubbly personality, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All that energy comes out and gets you in a good mood no matter what, man. So thanks for coming on and doing that. And just like you said, Rep, man, thanks to everybody to come back on here and keeps listening to us and allowing us to do this and meeting these people. I mean, we sat back and thought about that, what we get to do.
It's cool.
I mean,
it's amazing,
it's unbelievable,
right?
man.
It's super cool.
Today we're going to sit down and just talk to one of the most interesting, amazing people on the planet.
Earlier, man, I was back
no
there.
Big deal.
I was back there working, and I was in the middle, and you know how we are, man. We get fired into something. I didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
And then I was like, man, dang it, dude. And I stepped back. I was like, wait a minute, man. Missy Franklin's coming on. I can talk to her. That's what we get to do. I get to go. I get to run in the house and hang out because I was staring at her. And man, that's just a blessing, dude. And I know that. I'm walking around like I'm grinning like a shit-eating bug. I mean, I shouldn't have said that, but I pull that one out. It's cool, man, right?
Yeah.
It blows me away.
It's awesome.
I mean, I was staring back over at you, man. I could stare back through my past and all the different ways, just the way we look. And just to be able to sit up here and do that, and the people allow us to do that, man, that's a blessing in itself, man. So thanks for that. And I'm out.
I'm out.
Never quit. Never quit. Never quit radio.